Oh, yeah.
So, when is a cold not a cold? Welcome to episode number 7 of the Sharp Fit for Life podcast. And I'm Martin Sharp, as always. And
I've shrunk today. Actually,
yeah, well, maybe we should swap seats one day, actually, because you definitely look like you've shrunk slightly.
I ate the wrong vegetables.
Ate the wrong vegetables. Well, I didn't see any vegetables. Actually, no, you had vegetable soup. No, there was vegetables in that one for lunch, definitely.
No, vegetables. What's this meant to mean? I've just shrunk.
Yeah. It was the burnt toast, though. That was the quite amusing part. I mean, that was just carbonized, yeah. Black and charred. But you know, these things happen. It's part of the learning curve when you're learning how to cook for yourself and things. I should just take this blinking earphone out. I think it's just causing more problem than anything else. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about, is it? We're talking about when is a cold not a cold. And I think it's
not a good example of that today, actually. So that's really good.
Yeah, we have a quite good example of that today because you tried to kill me. Yeah, you did.
To be fair, you had a curry, so.
Oh, right, yeah, I'll give you that. But you know, when I do make a curry, I do make sure it has none of the things in that would kill you. Even though you don't like it, you don't eat it. You know, at least I don't try to trigger your allergies going. But,
I wasn't trying to either. I didn't think.
You know, no, I didn't think. Is in the background, cleaning your keyboard in a confined space with someone who's got a major dust allergy. Yeah, and that kind of gives some really key symptoms. But actually, as daft as it sounds, and as much as it wasn't the most pleasant experience, it kind of did give us this kind of topic that we can talk about because flu-like symptoms are quite common for this time of year. Not only for the fact that it is flu season, you know, we're going into winter and everything, but also it kind of happens for a whole variety of different reasons because it's part of how your body's fighting off other things or repairing itself, and it's actually a little bit overworked. So, for example, you can get those kind of flu-like symptoms when you've kind of worked out a lot and you find that actually you're tired and you kind of run down because you're utilizing your body now to kind of repair muscles. And I'm sure you've kind of had those feelings where you felt quite tired and a bit drained after you've had a really good session scootering, or even when you've been out doing a lot of the gymnastics and things.
A nice feeling.
Yeah, it can be a nice feeling, but not that kind of almost that snotty, full kind of head feeling.
I don't think I've ever had that, though.
Really?
I don't think I've ever had that. Other than when I've done it when I've been ill. I don't think I've ever exercised to the point I feel ill. Maybe sick. I've definitely done that. Like that hill in Scotland. Do you remember that? On the bikes?
Yep.
When we took that rocky path that didn't work out.
Oh, God,
That hill, I actually felt like I was going to throw up.
I wasn't too bad. I think it was almost near vertical or something.
Yeah, but I think that's probably like the only time I've actually felt ill from something is that.
Yeah.
But never had a head cold.
Yeah. Well, it's quite common that, you know, people in the are kind of working out and they kind of do deplete the body of all the various different stores, etc. But they will feel at one point where they will feel a little bit ill, a bit run down and things. And that can manifest itself in having flu-like symptoms. And it's a bit like if you have started to cut down on the amount of food that you're having to create that calorie deficit, because obviously you're not having as many calories going into your body, that can also give you flu-like symptoms. So again, it's not necessarily always going to be a cold or flu or even the dreaded COVID thing. That can actually give you the same kind of symptoms. So sometimes you just got to look at actually what's going on around you, what's going on in your life, and make sure your son's not cleaning his keyboard behind you if you've got a dust allergy.
Yeah, well, run through the story to make it a bit more clear for people. I was cleaning my keyboard earlier, which, by the way, it looks spotless, but it doesn't have any keys on it right now, so it's put back on. But I was cleaning it with, I didn't vacuum it because of the static, but I was rubbing it all off. And then vacuumed it up and stuff. I was feeling a bit under the weather anyway. And then it was just sneezing at least once a minute, probably more. And then it turns out it was all the dust.
Yeah. So Dom goes, if you thought it might be your dust allergy that's causing the problem, I thought, right. So yeah, I had antihistamines and literally half an hour later, feeling much better.
And open the windows. Yeah, honestly, if we actually film this, probably, what time is it now? 3:15. If we film this at 3 o'clock, it'd be different.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries, it's just half up on it. But the thing is, you're right. I mean, I'm feeling a bit more under the weather. You know, we're only 5 weeks away from the photo shoot now. So, you know, my body is kind of going through the mill. I'm pushing it hard with regards to training. I've also decreased the amount of calories that I'm taking in, getting it all ready for that moment. Which means that, I am going through those kind of symptoms anyway, where I will be feeling a little more run down, a little bit more tired, a little bit more grouchy than normal. Sorry, Sarah. And, it's just part of what we're going through to make that kind of happen. So to have that on top of kind of the other kind of symptoms, it is a bit of a surprise. But like I said, it's absolutely fantastic to be able to talk about it in this kind of setting where, if you're in the position where actually thinking, maybe I should be cutting down the amount of eating. Certainly, maybe you're having a bit of a pre-Christmas kind of deficit ready for the festive season or something. Or maybe you're thinking, actually, I want to start really changing my lifestyle around so that I can become a lot more fitter. Maybe that's going to be part of what you're going to do in the new year. I don't know. But, these are some of the things that, you don't always hear about. People don't always tell you about some of the other kind of side effects when you're going through these kind of transformational changes. And trust me, there's loads of things that I've kind of found out that some of them are nice, some of them are really interesting, other than them are not as good. Certainly having those cold-like symptoms are never nice. I don't think anybody. I mean, I'm definitely one that suffers from man flu.
So do you know what causes these feeling like you've got a cold?
So
I can't really imagine it.
What, from an allergy?
I don't know what an allergy means. You're going to have to tell me that as well, but...
So if you've got an allergy, it's just your body's reaction.
No, not an allergy. I know what that is. I mean, you were saying that after you worked out, you feel like you got a head cold. What's that caused from?
It's down to the fact that you don't
just a depletion of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got to remember, you've got one immune system, and that immune system basically does everything. So it does everything from keeping your body upright. It changes the cells as they kind of need to just be replaced on a standard basis, all the way through to repairing injury, etc., and fighting cold and everything. So you've got this one immune system that's kind of doing everything inside your body and replacing everything. So as you kind of deplete it of energy, or if you really, really work it hard, then you're going to give it a lot more work to do. Because, as you know, part of what happens when you're actually doing lots of exercise is you're breaking down some of that muscle tissue, which means it has to be repaired. Which, what is it that repairs it? It's back to being your immune system again.
I see.
Yeah. So that's kind of what the cause is, and the reason why I kind of got that thing. Obviously, taking it rather simplistically, but hopefully it makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Cool. So the lesson for today is if you do have a cold, or you feel like you're going to get a cold, just check out what you're doing in your life. It might not necessarily be a cold. It might just be your son cleaning his keyboard, or it might be that your body's just a little bit depleting in other ways. And if it's something where you're meant to do it, and therefore you can accept that that's actually part of the side effects of what you're doing to your body, then that's fine. If it's something where you didn't mean to do it, and actually you're thinking, well, maybe I just need to relook at actually my balance with regards to how much my calories in, calories out are, how much energy I'm putting into things, then again, that's another thing that you can always take into mind. So hopefully that's giving you a few ideas to move yourself.
But on the flip side, though, I would say you can do exercise to reduce cold symptoms, because sometimes if I just sit down all day and do something all day, my head feels foggy.
Yeah.
And then if you go out, I mean, I don't run, but hypothetically, say I went on a run, probably would feel a lot better.
But that's kind of a brain fog thing, isn't it, as opposed to being a cold symptom. So that kind of lethargic, you've not moved, you've got no energy because nothing is really kind of circulating.
So it's more of a placebo.
No, it's not placebo. I mean, you physically get a lot of endorphins and things from moving and having energy, and obviously your heart's pumping things around. Your facts of your muscles kind of moving means that you're moving things like the crumbs. What's the other fluid that goes around your body? I forgot off the top of my head now.
Blood.
No, that's the one from your heart. No. The crumbs. Complete moment. Anyway. So you've got all sorts of other fluids that are in your body that aren't actually actively pumped. And actually you don't get to move unless you actually move. The act of your muscles moving actually pumps those kind of around your body. Go ahead. It'll come back to me. I'll tell you one thing. It'll come back to me as soon as I get off this podcast. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I have a random question actually.
Go for it.
In a lot of films, tends to be a comedy, of course, but they have there's like a man or something doing an exercise on an exercise bike or something while doing his work.
Right.
Would that actually help or not? I mean, it's very distracting, I'd say, but it just seems to be such a common play to put in a movie, does that?
I think some people do that anyway in real life.
Because I've seen standing desks. Apparently, they are really meant to be good for you. And then posture chairs you can get and stuff.
Yeah. And
but that's not posture.
everything has as a benefit and a drawback. So definitely being stood rather than just being sat all the time. Being sat is a really bad position to be in. So certainly getting yourself up, out of yourself, seat, moving around at least like every half an hour, maybe 50 minutes at a maximum, is a good thing. And for me, I try to make that a bit of a ritual. Kind of get out of the seat, go make cups of tea, etc. Even if it's just for me or for the team that's around me. Just to make sure that I am moving, and that extra little bit of movement always helps and just keeps things flowing in the right kind of direction. Because I don't want to be sat all day, and it's just not a very good thing for your body to be so sedentary. Whether people get all the benefit from doing things like being sat on an exercise bike or running at the same time.
It seems so silly, but it might not be. I'm not sure.
Well, it increases your kind of non-exercise based movement, so it's just a bit like going and doing steps and things. So anything is better than nothing, but it won't necessarily make you fit. And I think that's the kind of key thing, and that's one of the things I kind of found very quickly. So when I was trying to lose a lot of weight and trying to actually become a healthier person, one of the things I used to do was make sure I did 10,000 steps a day. But doing 10,000 steps shuffling around offices between meetings is completely different than doing 10,000 steps going to do a mountain or something.
I don't get into your pace or rhythm or
Exactly.
stride or whatever word you want to use or anything there. So it's like doing short journeys in the car, and it's not great for it.
Absolutely, and then your body really doesn't start to warm up until about 45 minutes or so. So if you are going to make sure you're going to use those kind of efforts to improve your health, then making sure you go out there and do like 45 minutes worth at a good reasonable pace that does increase your heart rate, it'll definitely be something that can actually help you. But getting up, going to make a cup of tea on at least an hourly basis is at least better than not doing so. So make sure you do try and get as much small actions in as you can, because every little helps. But don't expect to massively transform your body if that's the only movement that you do. Definitely.
Right.
Good question, though. Very good question. As always, we love questions, we love feedback, we love comments, we love all that kind of interaction and jazz. So please feel free to leave us a message. We'll quite happily answer any kind of questions, anything you want us to kind of debate or talk about, we'll quite happily go through. And as always, like, subscribe, share, the usual things that you would expect to do with a podcast.
We are on Amazon now. I wish we could have a little thing, but let's put that on this live stream. So
yeah, we'll get
on Amazon Music now. No,
Yeah.
Is it Amazon Music, Amazon Podcast?
Same
Are
thing.
they separate entities? Or?
No, I think they're the same thing.
Well, yeah, Amazon Music. So if we could have a party popper that was just popping, that'd be great.
Ta-da!
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there. Every little helps. Definitely.
Every little helps.
Right. So in the meantime, have an absolutely awesome week ahead, and we'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye for now.
Thank you.